Disneyland's newest parade is a wonderful and magical parade, which I suppose is fitting as it's the Magic Happens parade. There's lots to talk about, and I've got some neat tidbits to share with you, so stick with me, and I'll break it all down after the intro. Well, hello there. My name's Jeremy and welcome back to Freeform Disney, where I talk about all aspects of Disney, from the animated movies to the theme parks to Star Wars, Marvel, and Pixar, and the TV shows, and everything else in between. And that is why it's Freeform. And keep coming back every day for new daily content. If you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Today we're talking all about the Magic Happens parade. It had been 9 years since Disneyland had a new parade, and all that changed on February 27th of this year when Magic Happens had its first performance. Now this parade, it's got 9 new floats, 2 new songs, and more than 90 performers, which means more than 24 live characters as well as about 40 plus characters all told if you include the ones that aren't actually humans. The show was put together and created by show director Jordan Peterson and creative director David Duffy. Each of them started their careers as performers at Walt Disney World. Jordan Peterson actually performed in more than 18 Disney parades. And Todrick Hall, who co-composed the music and the songs for the parade, was himself also a former Disney World cast member. So we got lots of Disney talent right there. So let's run through the parade and drop some tidbits about the different floats and characters along the way. First off, the first thing that hits you right off the bat is the music. So we start into that Magic Happens song. Now the music in the parade both takes from earlier works as well as really bringing in more of a pop feeling from today, and it gives it a very fresh feeling, shall we say. There are a whole bunch of little cute tidbits in the Magic Happens song. Like you've got things like You Don't Need Wings to Take Flight, clear Peter Pan reference. We've got things like Magic Don't Stop at Midnight. We know we're talking Cinderella right there. Or So Hold On Tight, Enjoy the Ride. Definitely in Aladdin. And don't close your eyes, by the way. And then there's a line that I swear has got to be a Wishes reference. When you wish you may and wish you might, then magic happens. Because we definitely use that wish you may and wish you might piece in there. And it's not the only time Wishes gets referenced within the course of the parade, as there's a musical nod to it later during the finale, and I love Wishes. Favorite fireworks show I've seen, so sad that it's gone. But hey, it's nice to catch a little reference to it. I mean, I just hear the name Wishes and my head goes right back there and the chorus is there. But we're not here to talk about Wishes today. We're talking about the Magic Happens parade. So let's move on. Each of the sections has a name, and the first section is called a Swirl of Magic. And we get these cool dancers right off the bat, and they've got these really modern-esque style outfits, which are supposed to reflect ideas of modern fashion runways, but with a lot of Disney influence at the same time. Now for an extra bonus point here, 2 of those costumes actually have the lyrics of that Magic Happens song written on them. Pretty neat. But you won't be focused on them for very long, because right after that we go ahead and see Sorcerer Mickey and the giant sorcerer hat behind him. And this isn't just your typical Sorcerer Mickey and hat. I mean, look at them. This is the Magic Happens version of them. What a wonderful, neat style to go with. Now there are 300 LED lights on that hat, and it's actually 15 feet tall, almost. And to finish off this section of the parade, then we got the rest of the Fab Five behind there, as well as Chip and Dale. Up next, we've got a Wave of Magic. That's the next section. And we start off with these really neat Moana dancers there, and they're kind of meant to represent the ocean. And I just love the dancing style, love the costumes. And then we quickly come up to Moana, who's on her single hull outrigger canoe over there. And Moana's definitely cool. And by the way, guess what? It's the first time there's actually been a Moana-inspired float for any Disney park. And if that's not enough for you, guess what? That LED panel in the back? You actually can catch some of the Finding Nemo characters in there on occasion. Random little piece. As well as seeing the heart of Te Fiti in there. Now behind that, we keep going on with Moana, and we have the Kakamora dancers. So they're playing all kinds of cool little Kakamoras. They're holding them in their hands. Really, really fun. Although you might be paying attention to Heihei instead, who's in a barrel and just kind of crazily moving because, after all, it's Heihei, and does he really know what the heck he's doing? Probably not. And to close out the Moana section, we've got Maui and Pua up on their own float. And by the way, this is Maui's debut as a character over in Disneyland Resort. So, pretty neat right there too. Up next, we've got the section called A Bridge to Magic. And this one's all about Coco. First off, we start with a whole bunch of dancers that are actually meant to represent the beautiful marigold flowers. And actually, as they fall off the bridge and they spin and float and twist, the idea is that they're representing that. What's also cool is if you notice the skirts, they've got these intriguing skirts that turn into capes and allow them to go ahead and use them as both a prop and a costume, which is really neat. It's a cool piece of costuming. And then we get to go ahead and see Miguel up on the float, and this is Miguel's debut, at least as a person. He's actually been in a Disney park, so like over in California Adventure, but it was as a puppet. So as an actual full character, shall we say, this is his debut there. Now try to guess how many marigolds are on that bridge. There are actually more than 30,000 individual marigolds there. That took some work to make. And what's really cool, I love Dante jumping up out of the bridge, and then you see him pop back in, and then he turns into his really cool, I don't even know how to pronounce the name, the Alberge form. Really cool though. Another neat little tidbit, you see on the back of the float, you've got 12 different unique Chihuahuas doing the singing dog act, from the whole Battle of the Band scene in Coco. Really cool. But in case that's not cool enough for you, then we've got spirit animal dancers, and that's got to be one of my favorite group of dancers right behind that. The costumes are just so magical, shall we say, for lack of a better word. Maybe whimsical. And then right behind that, you've got Pepita, and man, he's imposing and, definitely pretty as well. I've got to say, this is probably the most beautiful section of the entire parade. Coco's whole section definitely takes it right there. And for such a beautiful movie, I do think that's quite fitting. Moving on, we move on to A Magical Forest. That's the next section, and it's very much a Frozen 2 section. So we start off with some dancers, and these are meant to actually represent like the enchanted forest they go into in Frozen 2. So the male performers there are actually meant to represent the trunks of aspen trees, and the female performers are the canopy of the aspen trees. Now that's pretty cool, actually. And then we get the big old Frozen float, and Anna and Elsa and Olaf are all up on there, and it's being pulled by Nock the water spirit. And I mean, it's about what you expect. But at the backside, once it goes past you, you see an extra little bonus piece, because there you have Sven just sitting on the back. And Kristoff is actually in there. He's kind of off in the back, but he gets to interact with the audience a little bit more, so fun little role for him. And then he gets to chase back after the float every so often. And that Frozen float, you might have noticed, it's really long. It's 39 feet long, and actually the longest of the floats that's in the parade. Okay, and that takes us all the way on to the last bit of the parade, and that's A Magical Dream, the grand finale. So this has a whole bunch of different pieces, and this is also where we move into the second song. This final song has pieces that reference Remember the Magic Parade, as well as Wishes, and also the Remember Dreams Come True fireworks show. And that's because they have special meaning to the people who created it. So they're loving to reference back that way. And for all of us who know those shows, or the parade as well, I mean, it just adds that much extra cool little piece to it as well. First off, we've got characters that are all meant to be characters who really represent the idea of magic. So we've got Genie and Aladdin, we've got Tinkerbell and Peter Pan, we've got Pinocchio and the Blue Fairy, and then we've also got the Fairy Godmother. Just a nice little addition of characters. Now, each of the next three sections have a couple pennant dancers in front of them. And what's also neat is the different performers wear slightly different costumes and slightly different flags to represent whichever kingdom they're actually in front of. Each of these three sections represents a specific moment of magic happening. First up, we have Cinderella, and we're seeing it actually at the moment that the pumpkin is turning into the carriage, getting ready to take her off to the ball. Lovely design on it right there. Up next, we got the two red flag dancers, and we got Merlin and Arthur doing a sword in the stone float, and that's really neat. I have never had the chance to see a sword in the stone float. And for extra bonus points, this is actually Arthur's Disneyland Resort debut right here in this parade. He's never been in Disneyland before that. And in case you want a couple little extra tidbits that other people might not have caught, well, first off, Archimedes is in there, so go keep an eye out for Archimedes. And, even better, there are a couple squirrels up on top of the architecture. And that's Arthur and Hazel right there. That's a great little scene in Sword of Stone. A heartbreaking scene, really, when it comes to that movie. Really cool to see Sword in the Stone. I loved that one growing up. Far more than I feel like I should have. But then I've also always been a big King Arthur fan, so that's probably a bit of it too, right? Then we move on, we got two green flag dancers, and, well, being that they're green, we're moving on to Princess and the Frog. And so this magic moment is where Tiana and Naveen are kissing and having their transformation back into human forms. That's the magic moment we're seeing right there, so you get to see the cool swirls around them as it's happening. Nice little float. And then we move on to the very last section, really. We've got these royal sleeping beauty dancers, as I call them, up in front. And as soon as we move past them, we see Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather up on some cool little turrets that are just spinning around in a circle. Slowly, of course. I mean, we don't want them falling off. And behind them, we have Aurora and Philip up there, up on the top, all happy and waving to the audience, sharing a kiss on occasion. And this float right here is actually the tallest one in the entire parade. It's about 30 feet tall, actually. And then, well, we come to the end, right? So we got a cool banner as the whole thing's passing by, and they made all those neat little flags on it, you'll notice. Which, if you've seen that scene inside the castle of Sleeping Beauty, that would make you think of all those different pennants that they have hanging up there in the castle. And so that takes us through the end of the parade. Now, in my opinion, you always should see parades in Disney both at day and at night, because they're different parades to a degree, just especially getting to see all the different lights that light up, but you don't want to just see it at night, because things are so much more visible during the day. So what are my favorite sections of it? Ooh, so much to see. I love the opening of it. I mean, Mickey with that hat, the dancers right in front, really great. That said, I'm going to have to go with the Coco section. It's just so beautiful, so colorful, so well done. Love that section. And so that one's going to take the cake for me for my favorite overall section. Now, if you want to see the parade for yourself, there are a whole variety of sources up on YouTube, and I've got links down in the description to 2 of those videos which I think nicely encapsulate the parade. One of those is Disney's own well-produced virtual viewing, and it is well-produced, good audio quality, everything else, but it's actually a little short and it's not really the full length of the parade, and that one's during the day. Now, the other one I put up is from DAPS, and it's a full-length one of the parade, and it's at night. And for an extra bonus point, it's got a cool little cameo from a duck at the beginning. And well, now it's that time where I go ahead and ask, what about you? Have you gotten to physically see the parade, or have you seen it online? And what do you think? What's your favorite part? Let me know down below in the comments. And thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. I'll see you back here again tomorrow for another new episode of Freeform Disney. Have a magical day, everyone, and may the Force be with you always.